Here at home, thousands across the Metro Detroit area came together to join the nationwide No Kings rally that happened in protest of that military parade. Sky 4 showing dozens of protesters that lined the streets in Detroit, Ann Arbor, Ferndale, and Novi. Our Noel Friel heard from some of those protesters and joins us with a recap of those demonstrations today. Noel?
Yeah, that's right, Pamela. Downtown is all quiet tonight, but earlier today, thousands gathered here to join in on those protests. Protesters that I spoke to say they felt called to join others across the country in speaking out against what they consider overreach by the Trump administration. Thousands across Southeast Michigan joining in on the No Kings protests happening across the country, lining the streets in Ferndale and Wyandotte, packing downtown Ann Arbor, and in Detroit, marching from Clark Park to the Federal Building downtown. The protests all part of nationwide demonstrations in opposition of President Trump's military parade in the nation's capital.
It's disgusting. It's terrifying. The thought of tanks rolling down the streets in D.C. makes my stomach turn, because that's not the kind of thing that we do in the United States.
For veteran John Goodrich, whose son is an active duty military member, the show of military force amid nationwide immigration protests was inappropriate.
It's a tragedy to use them. It's as political props. Nobody wants, and any of those people that protest in Washington, D.C., they are not protesting against our troops. They're protesting the wrong use of them.
On the mind of other protesters, looming cuts to federal programs like Medicaid and SNAP.
Medicaid, I don't think people even realize the hardships that are going to come to everyday Americans from the middle class down. All to give a bunch of wealthy people more tax cuts is infuriating.
Fresh off the deployment of the National Guard to Los Angeles over protests against President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration, protesters say there's a heightened need for peaceful demonstrations like these.
That this is a blatant violation of our rights, and we're out here to peacefully protest and show that we are a loving country, a loving community, and we're here to oppose this tyrannical rule.
It's also important to note that these were all peaceful protests here locally. We haven't received any reports of clashes with police or any arrests related to these rallies. Live downtown, Noel Friel, Local 4.
All right, Noel, thank you. Michigan party leaders are responding to the nationwide and national protests. Jim Runstad, chairman, I should say, of the Michigan GOP, says he supports protests as long as they stay peaceful.
When CNN said, oh, look behind us, this is a mostly peaceful protest, and behind them, the fires are burning all over the place. So, no, the people can see what's going on. What we saw in Los Angeles was not peaceful. Oh, there might have been elements that were, but there was so much that was violent. So we shall see. If it's peaceful, I'm fine with that.
No Kings website lists over 1,800 cities holding protests today, including around 70 in Michigan.